name is Giovanni Tocco. I am the SoPHE UAE chair, and the webinar today will be on acoustic design for acoustically optimized buildings, presented by Geberit. The webinar will be split into two modules. Today we're going to cover the first module, module 1, and that will be predominantly focused on acoustic design within the building. And tomorrow, same time, we're going to do module 2, which will be focused on acoustic regulation and standard. Before we start, I would like to go through a few slides on SoPHE, just a quick introduction for those who are not aware. As you may know, SoPHE is a sub-branch from CIBSE. We are affiliated with CIBSE, and the SoPHE network really kind of expand all across UK to Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and UAE. And in terms of membership, we have a wide range of memberships, starting with student members, affiliate, associate, fellow, up to ordinary fellows as well. And overall, worldwide, we have around 1,100 members, and within the UAE, we are currently at 114. Next slide. This slide kind of captures a few important links. So all the SoPHE informations are available on the CIBSE website, information like membership, technical information, journals, etc. And for those on the call who is interested to get involved with SoPHE or be a member of SoPHE, please contact myself on giovanni.tocco@debsp.com. I will be more than happy to help and assist with the process. Also, all the upcoming SoPHE event will be posted on the CIBSE UAE LinkedIn page. So watch out for any upcoming events. And I will also urge everyone on the call to follow the SoPHE LinkedIn page for general discussion forum within the SoPHE and public health community. So moving on to the event for today. So the technical presentation, as I said, will be on acoustic drainage for acoustically optimized building, presented by Geberit. The speakers will be those two gentlemen on the picture. So Mr. Vinod Kumar and Mr. Mathias Riggenbach. Session note, please type your question on the Q&A panel. They will be answered by the speaker during the Q&A session. Your camera will be off and mic will be mute. And before I hand over to Vinod, I would just like to inform you guys that this webinar is being recorded. It will be shared on the CIBSE YouTube channel. And also it's a CPD accredited webinar. And whoever registered, you're going to get your CPD certificate from CIBSE directly. So on that note, I'll hand over to Vinod.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Giovanni. Yeah, I'll share my screen. I hope you all can see my screen now.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, thank you so much once again. And a warm welcome to all of our participants. And today, as we know, our topic is acoustic design for acoustically optimized building drainage system. This is very, I would say, famous topic in our region, especially where in this construction industry, we have a lot of demands in terms of acoustic material, acoustic requirements in hotel building, residential, etc., etc. So we will touch all the topics, and we will for sure address all the questions asked by our participant. Yeah, I'll proceed further. So a little bit about company side. The core statement what we have here is the globally operating group is, I mean, we are a European leader in the field of luxury sanitary products, thanks to our technical know-how in the field of sanitary. And with this, we are able to offer a comprehensive solutions for building drainage system with acoustic solutions. So we are a single source for bathroom solutions. We manufacture our own products, and that is the thing which is making us unique. And with that, I would say, like, we have a global presence and powerful brand. Like, we have a brand like Geberit, Colo, and Typhoid, where we have good developed products in our region, and also with the feedback of customers, we are making this as a successful business model where we learn also from the market, and also we, I would say, like transfer the knowledge to the market with the innovative technical solutions. Going further, if you see the company key figure, Geberit generated sales of 3.1 million Swiss franc, and the company headquarters is in Rapperswil, Jona in Switzerland. We have approximately 1,200 employees in around 50 countries. And as we see here, 29 production plants we have, majorly are located in Europe, and 6 are at other locations. Now, I'll take a little bit time for Geberit history here. As we see, like, company is founded in 1874, so we have experience of more than 100 years in sanitary field, and this is founded by a gentleman, CIBSE, and then we are the first inventor for the wooden cistern. After that, we had a lot of other developments. Then in 1956, we had a development for drainage systems, then first conceal systems involvement, and we are proud to say this, like we were the inventor of first plastic conceal system also. Then a lot of other innovations in terms of installation, shower toilets, water supply system, stainless steel pipes and fitting, then Geberit monolith, sensor-based toilets, bathroom, and other products. If we go further, we see the strategy where we invest is in 10 technology area. So approximately we invest 3% of the total value of our turnover in engineering department. So that we can see here, as I'll just take my computer cursor, the hydraulics, hygiene, statics, sound installation, fire protection, process engineering, virtual engineering. So the topic, what we see here, nowadays in this region, there is more demand of that. And today, what we will discuss is more on statics and sound installation part. So this will be very, very useful session for us today, where we can see the optimal value of sound, what it could be in a residential apartment or commercial or healthcare building. Generally in our region, as we know, people speak about several values, less than 20 dB, more than 20 dB, etc., etc. But exactly what is the requirement as per the standard and as per municipality regulation here in this region? We will see more on this part from Mr. Mathias. One thing I would like to take all of your attention here is we have a Geberit sound laboratory next to our factory in Switzerland. So we have operated this sound laboratory since like 1997, like more than 20 years. So we have invested heavily in acoustics and fire protection technology in many years. So now with this, I would like to hand over it to Mr. Mathias, where we will learn and we will see a lot of things in acoustics, which will be useful for our plumbing design segment. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, Vinit. I'm gonna just go to presentation mode. I hope everybody can see my presentation. Is that right?
Yes, all good.
Yeah,
excellent.
We can see it.
So thanks for the excellent presentation of Geberit, Vinit. I will continue and hopefully give you some valuable insights on the acoustic topic. So as Vinit said, this laboratory is very important for us, and also there we gained most of the values and experience when it comes to acoustics. So we have a huge knowledge and a huge database when it comes to different systems, to different installation regulation, and so on and so on. So that's, I think, the most important part, which where we can gain all the knowledge. So the introduction to Geberit was already done. I want to talk a bit about the basics, so what causes noise, about the dBA level, where it comes from, Then, of course, one of the most important topics, importance of acoustic in design. So designing stage is very important. Architects, I think they can do a lot already for acoustics and save us a lot of headaches if they make a good layout of the buildings. And this is one of the parts I would like to address heavily. And then also we will go into the designing, and then also about some situations or installation situations which are reality or which are good, and maybe some which are a bit less good. And then, as we already said, the acoustic regulations we will have tomorrow, also to make it not too heavy, everything in one webinar. So we split it a bit, so it is also quite well to digest for you. So when we start, what is sound? What is it actually? So it's measured in decibel. So I think everybody of you heard decibel. And then also the frequency is very important. This we measure in hertz. And this is basically the length of the sound. And those two values together, they give then the sound. And I will just play you an example where you can hear that the sound is also different. So it starts low, the lower sound, and the more we increase the hertz, also the sound is changing. So I'm going to play you this example here.
Matthias, we are not able to hear the sound of this.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to share. You are not hearing the sound? Still not?
No, actually.
Okay, I'm going to share again. Sorry for that. If you don't hear, it doesn't really make sense, huh? So I'm sharing again. I think I forgot to include the sound. My bad. So I try again. Now it should work.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. So you can see the pressure of the sound and then the hertz, which is changing depending on the range the sound is playing. And of course, also the perception for the human being is different when the sound is playing at different hertz. So this was a single sound. On the next example, I would like to play you some sounds which are more familiar to you. And you see the dB value more or less will be on the same level, but we will have different hertz spectrums which are involved. So also you will perceive the sound different. Maybe one of the most annoying one. So also the last one I think was quite annoying. The sound is not what you like to hear, and you see already the higher sounds when you have the higher hertz. Then you perceive the sound a bit different. And when we talk about building installations, if it's aircon or pipes or windows, facades, we always talk about this dBA level. I think this is also familiar for everybody. We don't talk only about dB. So this dBA value is an A filter which we use to adjust it to the human ear. So the human ear, how it is built, it perceives the sound a bit different. And this means this A value, if you ever ask why there's always this A, this is this A filter, and then we make this adjustment to the human ear, that it also perceives the sound in a measurable way, which is then also defined in all the acoustic standards around the world. This dBA value is used, and therefore we can make a comparison, and for all the human beings, more or less, it will sound the same. Then also important when we talk about this noise barometer, you see, for example, when you have this pneumatic hammer, we talk about sounds of 100 dBA, which are already having an effect on the ears and could even make damage. But where we are talking about when it comes to piping installation, drainage installation into buildings, we mostly talk about values around 30 dBA. This we will then more see tomorrow in the regulations, but I can tell you already, or you know already, most of the regulations they have different stages, but mostly we talk about values between 25 and 35 dBA. Everything which is below is not or seldom disturbing, and values below 20 dBA, they are also very difficult to hear, even in the night when you maybe try to fall asleep. Values below 20 dBA, that will not disturb anyone when you are quietly at home. So I think this is just some basics which are very important to know, especially those this noise barometer and the dBA level. Then also very important, we distinguished between two sounds. So we have airborne sound and structure-borne sound. So the first one is coming through the air. So when I'm speaking or playing like the person on the picture, an instrument, so it goes over the air, spreads through the air, and will come to another human ear, and then he will perceive the sound. So also here, when we make a noise in one room, it will go to the wall and then maybe vibrate and then go on to the next wall. Structure-borne sound is more when we, for example, we walk around in our home, we have a neighbor below, and then hopefully there's some good insulation, some good decoupling from one floor to the other, so you don't hear when the children or the women with the high heels are running around. So you should not get disturbed in your flat, or you see also when you activate maybe with a hammer, you have some renovation above. So the better the insulation, the less you hear when you have a good structure-borne sound insulation. And this is very important also to distinguish when we talk about acoustics. I can already tell you airborne sound is a bit, let's say, easier to get rid of. Structure-borne sound, you will also realize it's a bit more difficult when you have it in a building, that you can get rid of it. We see it here already in when we look at the building, airborne, structure-borne sound. So when you're standing in your bathroom, you're flushing your toilet, the noise which is coming to your ear is airborne sound, and then you realize, okay, the WC is flushing, hopefully it is nicely cleaned, and then you will have this airborne sound. Your neighbor next to you, or even in your own room, or the neighbor below, they will hear structure-borne sound. So the distribution of the structure-borne sound you see goes over the building, and there, as I said, it depends really what systems and insulations you use, and this is mostly how it makes the biggest effect on the sound which goes to the neighbor. The airborne sound mostly is for your own ears when you are standing in front of the toilet, and the structure-borne sound is mostly for the neighbors. So how to reduce an airborne sound? Mostly we have a duct, maybe with a pipe. What is easiest to do? Of course, we put some duct around, and then we do not hear the noise in the room. And this is what we do mostly also with a pipe. We put it in a duct, and then the sound will be reduced. What are we doing for solid-borne sound? You see already here we use, of course, brackets. We have to fix the pipes. There we should use rubber inlets on the brackets. Or if we talk about pipes which are cast in concrete, we have this insulation mat. This is maybe a technique not very common in your region. but there are many countries, they put the pipes in the concrete, and then of course you have to decouple the whole pipe from the concrete, so the sound cannot travel to the neighbor. So then also a good question, what is noise? Also this one depends. For example, the first sound which I'm playing you here, Formula One car. If you like maybe Formula One and you like the cars, maybe go even to see, this is maybe a pleasant sound for you. But of course, for people who do not like maybe the sounds or the street in front of you where the trucks are passing, of course, this is not a very pleasant sound. And of course, it's also mostly the loud sounds. They are not very pleasant. But also we have the second sound, which is also maybe familiar to everybody when you have been with the dentist. This sound is a bit lower, but it can be also very annoying when you hear the sound, because it's also what you associate with the sound. That's also very, very much important, the loudness of the sound and also what you associate with it. Then, of course, the last sound, I think everybody has heard, the toilet flush. There, mostly you will also have noticed it's not very loud, but when you hear the sound, maybe you associate your neighbor going to the toilet, you have a nice dinner, and then also this sound is not very nice to hear at this stage. Or you just try to fall asleep, your neighbor is flushing the toilet, everything is quiet, and then also maybe this sound can wake you up. So also there we sometimes talk about psychoacoustic. Different people are also, let's say, have a different relation to sound. So if, for example, you live in a flat with your family, small children, they are running around through the day, of course, you will not hear the toilet of your neighbor. But if, for example, maybe you're a bit older and you want to have quiet and peace in your home, and then maybe you will hear the toilet flush of the neighbor. That's why the perception of the sound is always different. And that's why always the first question of Geberit, if it comes to acoustics, is also it goes to regulation. And we always ask you, okay, what is the level you would like to achieve in your building, in your flat, in your room, and then we can plan accordingly. And there I have some further examples where you can hear, for example, a standard toilet maybe when I play. And then also optimized installation. So of course here it also depends how you adjust your earphones and everything. Is not a real value, but the difference more or less, I think this is what you can take as a difference on the different systems. And then also, as I said, it depends really how delicate you are on the sound and how you perceive the sound. Then also we made quite some time ago in Germany, of course, we made some questionnaire about the annoyance of sanitary noise. So, of course, nobody likes it when you ask. Everybody has been disturbed at least once or twice by sound. Then, of course, I always, sometimes we get asked, okay, I want to have it as quiet as possible. And then, of course, the more quiet, of course, also the more expensive it gets when we talk about the acoustic value. So if you have increased requirements, then also it's a bit the question of money and how much you would like to spend on your acoustic installation. But people, they are willing to pay, especially the ones who are exposed to really bad acoustic installations. And this we see many times in hotels. So people who are traveling around, of course, they are used to a standard in certain hotel chains. And of course, they want to have the same experience all over the world. So you see, we have here some comments from some people on TripAdvisor, which were not happy on their hotel, on their holidays, and they even gave a bad rating about the hotel because of the acoustics. Then also when I did quite some time ago a booking on booking.com, I think everybody's familiar with this page, I saw that even there is a option you can choose which says soundproofing. And to be honest, what it means or what is behind, I cannot tell you, but I think it also shows the importance that people are asking for this category and maybe choose their hotel accordingly. Especially when you go to holidays, you would like to have a quiet time and not be disturbed from your holiday neighbors, let's say so. But also in private homes, we see there are people which are getting, let's say, disturbed from the neighbors. It's also a topic there, of course. But there we see, even I found some advices from people they put to the internet when it comes to deduction in private homes, but mostly if especially on solid-borne sound, if you have a problem, even if you put as much insulation around the pipe as you like, you will not get a better sound value. So very important also, you have to start initially on the sound planning, because if you do it too late or just work with insulation for the airborne sound, you will not achieve a good result. And you see even here, it can maybe even make your home hard to sell when you have this noise problem. So then I spoke about the cost of noise reduction. Of course, if you look at the pipes and the installation system, of course, you know, there's a different pipe involved, there's a different approach generally with system involved. And this, of course, has quite some cost when you only look maybe at the pipes. But also what we ask always when you do a building, look also about the floors, walls and ceilings and the doors and windows. Because if you do not have the budget, let's say, for good windows and good floors and walls, if you live in a big city and you hear the outside traffic even more than, for example, this 35 to 40 or 30 to 45 decibel, then why should you make even some, let's say, acoustic regulations for the pipes? So I think this is very important. When you do buildings, check, do you have the budget? And then also check, or even more important, I would say, is really the building structure, and if you have a train passing in front and so on and so on. There are a lot of regulations are also in place. This is even more important than the inside noise. Because the inside noise got also importance in Switzerland when it started in Germany. You know, we are cold countries, and initially we had the insulation on the facades of 5, maybe 8 centimeters, and nowadays we put 25 to 30 centimeters insulation on the building. And this makes, of course, the inside of the building very quiet, and only then you will start to hear also the, for example, the toilet flush and so on. So important, the whole building, the whole approach has always been to be considered. And then only then we also say it makes sense to consider the whole piping. And then, of course, in the full cost, the piping is then also, let's say, a smaller part of the whole building. But what is happening in reality mostly, when we look then also about the piping, you see wastewater noise is neglected in planning, so it's not a standard in most of the countries when you do planning. Then also installation elements have direct contact with walls and floors, so we have floor standing toilets. We have all the pipe is connected to the building structure. We have maybe even brackets without any insulation and so on and so on. And then also, of course, but I would say this is mostly we talk about the pipes, of course, but I would say maybe surprisingly to you, the pipes are then maybe the last thing you should think about when you do acoustic design. So that's why also this leads me to the slide here. And I know in your region, mostly we have cross-floor installation. And this is actually, I think it's also clear for everybody, that's the worst kind of installation if we talk about acoustics. Of course, it has some benefits, but for acoustics, to make the installation of the toilet, in the worst case, just in the top of a living room, then you will see the impact from the toilet, where we have it here on this bend, and that's mostly the loudest sound of the whole flushing process. So best is already the loudest device, the toilet, when you put it on the upper floor. And then maybe you have a floor drain which is below, where we do not have so much influence of the sound, or as we do in Switzerland, in Belgium, in some other European countries, we do cast in concrete, or we do mostly in Germany even same floor installation. So there, of course, the sound is already away from the neighbor, and you can achieve nice values. With the cross floor installation, of course, you can also do something like this, but it's very expensive. You have to spend a lot of money on pipes and then also on false ceilings, on acoustic ceilings, and this would be quite expensive. So also there we recommend to go out of the zone where the acoustic are important and make the proper pipe installation. So also we see it here. For example, when we talk about the in-wall installation, so here we have direct contact with the building. So this is a kind of a combi-fix in-wall cistern, which we also have in the offer. This is a good product, but not when we talk about acoustics. Then we better go with our pre-wall system, which is called GIS, or Duo-Fix system. Or, of course, every concealed system can also be installed with a Knauf system. I think Knauf system is quite popular. Gyprock maybe is known in your region, I don't know. But when we talk about acoustics, we should always go in front of the wall, take all the devices which make the noise away from the wall, and make the whole system installation like floating in the building. So you can also see here, on the cut, there's no connection to the back wall of the building, and also the devices are decoupled. Like I always say, they're the whole installation, not only the pipe, should be kind of floating in the building, and not as we have it here attached to the building. This creates a lot of solid-borne sound. Then also very important here, the layout. So if you see, you have here a good layout with the bathroom and kitchen. In this case, you do not even have to consider any standard, because in your own bathroom, in the neighbor's bathroom or the kitchen, there are no regulations for sound. Also in your own bathroom, mostly you are doing something, you are not getting disturbed with sounds. And if you, I think if you sleep in your bathroom, the sound can be as loud as it wants, you will not get disturbed anyway. So this is very important when we talk about the acoustics, and when we have kind of installation like here, you do not have to consider acoustics at all. But if you have a bad situation, for example, the toilet is fixed to the living room of the neighbor, as we have it here, then of course the sound will travel immediately to the neighbor's room, and then of course you have to use special pipes, special installation system, and so on and so on. So this is very important. If you have a good design, also here you see, for example, if you do it to the staircase, the toilets, then immediately you can, let's say, get rid of many problems, and that's the most important. Here, on the other situation, when you even do it to the bedroom, just next to a sleeping room, then you create a lot of problems, and then it gets quite expensive to solve them. Which we like from Geberit, but for you, of course, this situation here is better. Then also you see the duct here, as I showed you, the duct, when you do a duct, then the sound actually increases because you have a smaller room. And then also we always recommend that you put 3 to 5 centimeters in an L shape in the duct, and then already there the noise in the duct will reduce. So also here you see it's not only on the same level, the rooms, it's also diagonal. And this is mostly the most critical room here, the diagonal room, which you're getting most disturbed. And when you can make a design where the whole installation is not touching critical rooms, then you do not even have to consider any acoustic regulations. So here you see the critical rooms, and then also in your own rooms, there are no acoustic regulations which you have to consider. So also there, if you, for example, in the example before, when you mount the kitchen and the bathroom together, that actually is also from hydraulic wise and also using less pipe material and so on, better for the whole installation. Not for Geberit, of course, we like to use a lot of pipes. So when we come to the full installation, we of course always say use a wall hung toilet. When you put the toilet on the wall, there's no traveling directly through the floor when you flush the toilet, and the whole element which we have on the wall will serve as a decoupling from all the other areas. So you see here we have these frames. You also have this pad here. So this is actually mounted here behind the ceramic and serves like a bracket just to get rid of the solid-borne sound. And also here, the connection band to the toilet, which is in the frame, will absorb all the sound which goes to the or could go potentially to the neighbor. So also here, depending on the requirements, you can work with traditional system like Knauf, Gyproc, whatever. Or of course, if depends on the requirements you have, you can then also use the full Geberit system. This is what I'm showing you now here. So the full system here, it is important that you decouple the whole wall. So this whole element should be flying in the building and should be fully decoupled from any wall or floor from the building. So like that, we can ensure that none of the sound is traveling to the neighbor apartment. And then, of course, when you have considered all that, silent drainage pipe, of course, is also very important because there you reduce the noise at the source, and yeah, depending, of course, on the level you want to achieve, there also different options of pipes are available. But even if you have a good layout and a good installation, then I think that's even more important than the pipe itself at the end. So there's a lot you can do before we talk all about the acoustic products, which we have, of course, also in the basket. So here we have, for example, the special acoustic pipe, which is a bit heavier than a normal pipe. We add some minor reinforced polyethylene, which makes the pipe heavy, and then of course will make it more sound approved than a normal HDP pipe. And very important also the brackets, so we can get rid of the solid-borne sound. But also there, very important is the installation. So also if you have done all right, so you have a good design, you have considered all this, let's say you have a good duct, you have insulated the duct, you have the right pipes, you have considered everything. The most failures we see always is during the installation. So if you have done everything perfect and you have, for example, here, you see you have some cement on the bracket, and this is a direct sound bridge to the building, and this can cost a lot of money when you do not consider this well. And then everything is already installed. Maybe nobody realizes during the installation. And then what can you do if customers are not happy? You have to open all the walls. They are living already inside, and then it just gets very expensive. So again, plan from the beginning. And then also, of course, during the installation, check always all the installation. Is it properly installed? Is a bracket missing? Did they work maybe a bit quickly? They didn't have the proper bracket. They use the wrong one without insulation. Then the whole installation or the sound values will be, of course, on a higher level. And for this also we have, of course, Mr. Vinet and other colleagues in the region. If you have projects there, we consult you. We also come and show you on which points you have to look when it comes to the installation. Then also here, something which is also many times done wrong on the offsets. When you use 45-degree bends, of course, also this has an increase when the water hits the bend. If you use 15-degree offsets or non-offset at all, this of course also makes better acoustics. There are many other things within the installation where we can support you afterwards on the building side, and also share, of course, our knowledge on this side. So that's more or less it for the first part, a bit the basics, which I think are most important even before regulation. If you do, or if you consider those basics, I think then you have already, let's say, a good acoustic installation. If you consider especially the layout, you choose the right products and make a good installation, nobody will complain. You will be within most of the standards or basic standards, but there are of course also increased standards, and then it gets maybe a bit more difficult to reach some values. But about this, I would like to speak tomorrow about the regulations, and this is basically the standards we are going to talk about tomorrow. So of course the German standard, which is the most advanced in acoustic installation, also the Swiss standard, the SII 181. It's a very strong standard. Many things are regulated there. The same in the Austrian standard. Then I would say a bit weaker is the British standard, which does not define too many situations or also measurings. And then also we know from Israel we have standards. And this is also important. Those are standards. And then we also have some standards which are not defining values. They are defining measuring of the pipe. So this DIN EN 4366, they are not defining, for example, the 30 dBA. They are measuring pipes in a laboratory condition, and they give them values which are mostly below 20 dBA, even sometimes below 10 dBA. And this, in our point of view, is not really helping you on when you do a building. But on this we will speak tomorrow. I think we go now over to the Q&A session, and I think I will give back to Giovanni, and I hope there are a lot of questions.
Great. Thank you very much, Mathias. That was a very good insight in terms of acoustic. We have a few questions from the panel. Let me just skim through them. There's a question from Yogesh, specifying DB20 silent pipes. Will that help in reducing the noise level?
With it, may I start? Maybe you can take the next one. Huh?
Yeah,
so,
please.
No, to be honest, even sometimes the title of our pipe is not very well chosen. To be honest, sometimes people think when I take DB20 pipes, then I reach 20 decibel. That's not the case, and I have to emphasize on this. Of course, it will help, but it can only help when the basics are right. So what I explained to you, when the layout is right, when the installation is right, then of course the pipe will help. If you choose a DB20 pipe or whatever acoustic pipe, you have a wrong installation, a wrong layout, then it will be even worse than if you use a non-acoustic pipe. So really step by step, you have to do the steps, and the pipe, I would say, is then really when you know, okay, what is done on the layout, what possibilities I have with the ducts, where can I lead them, do I go into critical zones? And then we would, of course, then even sometimes in one project, we have some HDP pipe, and only in critical zones we use the DP20 pipe. So also, of course, there to make it on the budget for the building, that it makes sense on that. So really, yes, it helps, but only if everything before is also done right.
Yeah, it depends a lot on workmanship as well, to be honest.
Exactly.
So as you mentioned, structure, airborne sound, if the bracketry is not done properly, yeah, it's going to fail really.
Exactly.
Meeting the acoustic requirement. Yeah, good one. Let me just scroll down. Next one, again from Yogesh. Generally silent pipes or push fit types or welded pipes?
Vinit, do you take that one?
Yeah, Matthias. Actually, just to add to our previous question also, like the situation which you have explained is perfectly right. And especially, I think our colleague from this region will agree with us. Like we have a lot of products where they claim like 12 dB, 10 dB, or sometimes 8 dB. So that would not be the case if our layout is not done properly. So this is a common thing for any other products also. Yeah, coming on this part, like silent pipes, actually in this region again, this is a common thought process what we had come across. Like when we speak about silent pipes, people thinks like it should be push fit only. So that is not the case. We have silent pipes in both, in push fit and also in welded types. So it depends on our requirement. What is our requirement in the bathroom? We can have the same levels of sound value from both pipe, whether it is PP or silent or HDP. And both connections, push fit and welded type, has benefits and limitation based on like our installation guidelines and the requirement. Yeah, maybe we will see the next question.
Yep, good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you guys have any guide in terms of or work with a contractor to reduce structure-borne noise? Really, I think the question is mainly focused in terms of support, bracketry, etc. Do you guys have any typical detail? Do you assist a contractor to make sure that the system is being installed properly?
Yeah, I think here I will just give a small briefing, Matthias, and then you can add.
Excellent.
Some
I
points
just
also.
wanted to suggest that.
Yeah. What happens here, our colleague or our customers will agree also. Wherever we are in touch with contractor, we give a trainings to them on site, and also we invite them to our training center, which is in Design District in Dubai, to actually learn from them and also to teach them the small minute details, whether it is related to welding, related to acoustics, related to a good installation practices. But yes, we do have a, I would say, catalog or a process where it is very clearly defined how to do a proper installation, reducing the structure and airborne noises scenario. Hope this answers Mr. Yoge's questions.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just
we
what
can
Vinit
share
said,
that detail also. Yeah,
exactly. And this is also what we talk tomorrow about. So I hope that somebody asked this question. So there we will emphasize a bit more tomorrow what we can offer from our side. Of course, product-wise, we offer the full range, so the full system. And it's not only, I hope you realized, it's not only about the pipe. We offer the brackets, we offer the concealed system, we offer the full installation system, which should be kind of floating in the bathroom. So it's not only about the pipes, and there we have done measurements in our labs, which we that can also share with the customer and show how they should do the installation in certain situations.
Okay, lovely. I think this is what Yogesh is kind of alluding to with regards if you have any typical support details, etc. If you can share that.
Exactly.
That will be
Exactly.
Next one again. Do you recommend to apply insulation to reduce the noise level, or you recommend DB silent pipes or do you have any cost comparison shared with the client contractor? I think comparing the DB20 pipes with regards to insulation lagging.
Yeah, here I will just answer this question. Actually, it again depends. We have, as we know, like we have both products, a general SDP pipes and fitting and Salent DB pipes and fitting. So based on client requirement, we provide our solution. Suppose if client is asking for certain DB values, at that time we actually share all the data, because as what Mr. Mathias was explaining, the sound value is not only dependent on acoustic lagging or the material. It depends on other factors also. But yes, with all other factors, if we see the scenario is quite okay, the sound level has been achieved, then SDP pipes with acoustic installation is okay. If we feel like yes, there will be some other scope of improvement, then definitely we recommend to use as Silent DB20 pipes on that part. Coming on commercial situation, here what happens, we again see, because commercial part is something which varies project to project and situation to situation. So this, but we do have that commercial comparison based on project specific requirement. We are actually sharing that information to the concerned person. If there is anything, I'm based in Dubai, getting help from Mr. Mathias and our other engineering team members, so we can work together if there will be any other further requirements on cost part with installation acoustics and with installation of silent DB pipes. Hope this is the fine thing for Mr. Yogesh.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah.
Next question from Rishi. How much space thickness needs to be considered around the pipes for acoustic materials / bends? This will help in shaft sizing, etc.
Yeah, maybe on this one, I think what is very important. I always realize when we talk about the acoustics, we talk always about the silent pipes and how much space thickness needs to be considered for acoustic material bends. The most important message I would like to give here, if you do a good layout installation where acoustics is not important, you don't have to consider anything. If we have defined in all of the standards, we have defined rooms where acoustics are not important. And if you have a good acoustic design, you just take a normal HDP pipe, you make the installation, and everybody will be happy. And also nobody can come to complain because there's no regulation. And this is why every Geberit employee, when you start to talk about acoustic, the first thing he will ask, what is the level you want to reach? And how is your installation? So if you have a good layout, you don't have to consider any standard, then you can do basically a cost-effective installation. Of course, we know that the installation, sometimes the architect especially, they make a lot of crazy installation, going with the pipe through the living room, whatever. And then, of course, we have to consider more of the acoustics. But if you do consider a normal installation and the layout, you can work even with normal material. And then, as I said, maybe in the basement, when you go horizontal, there you have a big impact. Only then maybe you use acoustic material. Also there we check where it is really needed. And we are not saying, okay, this acoustic project, you want the best acoustics, we give you the most expensive pipe, then everybody will be happy. We consider the full circle, so design, installation, and then at the end, of course, we choose which material must be applied. And then we have all the details, of course, that was the question. When I come back to the question, of course, we have all the details, we have all the knowledge which we can share and show you where maybe are critical zones, and then you have to consider a bit more on the acoustics.
Okay, I think we don't have any further questions. We still have a few minutes left. I mean, put your bang on time, to be honest. Yeah, so if you don't have any questions, maybe if you need to add something, Mathias and Vinette, with regards to the module 2 tomorrow, so that people can pretty much give them kinds of a heads up for people to join tomorrow.
Excellent. And then maybe they will hear the neighbor tonight, and some more questions will come until tomorrow. Huh?
Yeah, of course. We just got one from Iftikhar. What would be the major concern while the acoustic? What would be the major concern while the acoustic installation? I don't really get it. I think
yeah, I think this is yeah, maybe this question I understand it very well, and this is always a difficult one. What during the installation? What you have to consider, or where they do most of the mistakes? I think that's where the direction goes of the question, and this is really. I mean, once the layout is fixed, when it comes to the installation, sometimes they for example, when you go through the floor, they don't do proper decoupling of the pipe. They use the wrong brackets. Maybe the brackets didn't arrive, the proper ones. They use some brackets without insulation, or even when they have the drywalls, they put, before they close the drywall, they put all the rubbish behind, and then you have always these sound bridges within the installation. So you always have, before you are closing the walls, I know it from here, from Switzerland and Germany, they will always make pictures. They before they close a wall, also to make sure everything was properly installed and to guarantee everything was done in the way it is supposed to. All the brackets are in, all the breakthroughs, they are insulated, and the pipe and the whole system is kind of floating in the room. And then you can make sure everything is okay and you don't get expensive surprises.
I think we have one more from Mr. Iftikhar. Can this increase installation time, so we should go with TB20 pipe? Actually, this is something, again, like what Mr. Mathias was explaining. Like if our layout and everything is good, then we can use normal pipes. Other thing, like having acoustic installation over normal pipes will not kill more time. I mean, it is not something where we are having more and more labor time in it. So this will be very, very quick, because as a contractor, they already have, plenty of experience on that part. So yes, I mean, on that case, I would also suggest, like, there will not be more installation time requirement on that part. Anything else from your side, Mathias?
No, I think that's it. It means the installation is actually the same. It's just maybe people, yes. or we also try with contractors who are of course know the product, who know the procedures already, and this is also valuable for us. And they know acoustic installation. Then of course it gets faster and the same from the product. It's the same. It really depends to have a proper contractor who knows acoustics, who knows the basics, and then this, I think, it's the most important one. The material, of course, is important, but even as I said, you have the best material. You do one small mistake, all the acoustic is not of any value.
I agree with you. Thank you so much for this input, Mathias. Over to Mr. Giovanni.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I think it's been quite interactive. So if you have more questions, I will urge, the audience, please get in touch directly with Vinette and Mathias. Yeah, I think you can share your contact details, guys, or send me the slides. I'll send that to a few of the people who kind of already requested for the slides. I can share that across. So again, thank you very much. Very nice presentation. So I hope that we can look ahead for module 2, which will be same time tomorrow. So I hope that everybody can kind of join us, for the second part of this webinar. So again, thank you very much, everyone. So have a nice evening.
Thanks. Thanks
you.
again
Thank
to
you.
all of you.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.